Welcome back, cultivators. If you enjoy these deep dives and want to support the channel, please smash that like button and subscribe. Help me reach 1,000 subscribers. It takes time and effort to bring you these episode breakdowns, and every sub means the world. Today we're diving into the intense preview for Swallowed Star episode 190, and let me tell you, this one is absolutely packed. Luo Feng's treasure hunt inside the Sacrificial Tower reaches its climax. The mighty Cang Jin King finally meets his end, and Luo Feng walks away with treasures so vast, they'll shake the entire universe. Let's break it down, step by step. The battle for the treasure chest was already brutal. Both the human camp and the mechanical camp clashed fiercely, desperate to claim the spoils. But just when everyone thought they had found the prize, the truth came out. 3 of the chests were completely empty. Thanks to Cho Chika, a native of Yanji continent, everyone realized there was only one real treasure chest. He led the way, and what appeared before them was massive, a chained treasure chest glowing with mystery. But here's the problem. No matter how hard they tried, no one could open it. The chest was locked, requiring the unique tokens of Yanji's natives. Without that, everyone was powerless. Frustration spread quickly. One by one, people gave up, ready to leave. Yet greed is never so easily quenched. The Cang Jin King of the mechanical clan, unwilling to walk away empty-handed, turned his attention to Luo Feng and his allies. If he couldn't open the chest, he'd simply rob others to make up for his loss. But what he didn't expect was betrayal from within. Zhong King, the Purple Bell King, also from the mechanical clan, had been biding his time, and at this critical moment, he revealed his trump card. Facing Cang Jin King's overwhelming might, Purple Bell King clenched his teeth and pulled out a black crystal ball radiating a terrifying aura. The energy waves alone were enough to make everyone freeze. Luo Feng's eyes widened instantly. This wasn't just any weapon. It was the legendary Fire God Source Crystal. And not just the common type. This one far exceeded the crystal Luo Feng once exchanged for 800 million points. Its destructive power could rival the self-detonation of 3 Peak Kings. It was one of the deadliest explosives in the universe, and the one Purple Bell King held was of an extremely rare, high-end variety. The cost of such a crystal was unimaginable. For a king-level powerhouse to obtain one meant draining their entire fortune. And yet, here it was, now being wielded as a threat. Cang Jin King narrowed his eyes, recognizing this wasn't the first time Purple Bell had used the Fire God Source Crystal to survive. He sneered, mocking his fellow mechanical king for relying on fear instead of true strength. But Purple Bell King remained calm. He admitted it openly. Yes, the crystal had saved him before, and yes, detonating it here wouldn't kill Cang Jin outright. But in this confined treasure room, it would cripple him, severely damaging his immortal body and slowing his recovery. Still, Cang Jin wasn't impressed. With confidence brimming, he shifted his murderous intent toward Luo Feng instead. The atmosphere grew suffocating. Everyone knew the situation was on the verge of collapse. Luo Feng, Zhong King, and Hunyuan King, all aware they weren't immortal gods, understood that the only reason Cang Jin hadn't struck yet was because he was gauging their trump cards. He wanted to know if they could truly threaten mutual destruction. Finally, he made his decision. With contempt in his voice, Cang Jin declared they were no threat, and his body ignited with lightning. Burning his immortal essence, he prepared to end the battle in one decisive strike. In desperation, Hunyuan King chose to self-destruct. But his injuries were too severe. His explosion was weak, unable to even scratch Cang Jin. He fell tragically, his sacrifice in vain. Zhong King, gritting his teeth, urged Luo Feng to unleash everything he had. But Luo Feng wasn't immortal. He couldn't burn his body the way Cang Jin could. The outcome seemed certain. And then, Purple Bell King revealed his true hand. With a calm yet deadly expression, he summoned forth his namesake treasure, the ancient Purple Bell. Inscribed with mysterious runes, it radiated overwhelming power, the kind wielded by even the strongest lords of the universe. With a boom, the bell expanded, covering nearly the entire treasure room. Inside, Luo Feng and Cang Jin were both trapped. Purple Bell King smirked as he withdrew, leaving behind the Fire God Source Crystal within the bell. His plan was simple yet cruel. The bell's unique ability could focus destructive energy, multiplying the explosion's force tenfold. With this, he intended not only to annihilate the seemingly invincible Cang Jin King but also Luo Feng, whose unknown treasures and defensive powers he deeply coveted. And so, the crystal detonated. The explosion was catastrophic, magnified to levels no one could endure. Even the mighty Cang Jin King, despite burning his immortal essence to resist, was torn apart. In his final act of defiance, he chose to self-destruct, attempting to drag Purple Bell King down with him. But caught off guard, Purple Bell barely managed to restrain the blast with his bell. The combined explosion ripped the treasure room apart, tearing chains, metal floors, and scattering treasures everywhere. In the chaos, Luo Feng made his move. At the last possible second, he hid his human body within his inner world, surviving what should have been certain death. Purple Bell, convinced both Luo Feng and Cang Jin had perished, swooped down to claim the spoils. Treasures scattered like stars, and in the confusion, Luo Feng's demon killer clan clone disguised itself as fragments of metal, silently collecting everything. Even the precious chained treasure chest slipped into Luo Feng's possession without Purple Bell realizing. But fate had its humor. When Purple Bell bent down to collect what he thought was just another fragment, the fragment shifted. Metal shimmered, and Luo Feng's figure emerged with a mocking smile. "Thanks for the help," he quipped. Purple Bell's fury was instant, but it was too late. The treasures were gone. The natives, observing all this from the control room, were both shocked and dismayed. Though they mourned that their treasures had fallen into foreign hands, they also knew they had secured something even more important, the heritage of their tribe. With Cho Chika's sacrifice, their civilization's secret cultivation methods were preserved. They abandoned the Sacrificial Tower, setting it to self-destruct, and carried the inheritance back to their kingdom of God, vowing to rebuild. Meanwhile, tension between Luo Feng and Purple Bell King escalated again. Luo Feng remained calm, silver wings fluttering lightly behind him, while Purple Bell's aura surged with fury. Their words cut sharp, Purple Bell accusing Luo Feng of insidious tricks, while Luo Feng shot back that Purple Bell was the true schemer, hiding his strength until the very end. The battle reignited. Luo Feng used his speed to weave through the tower's passages, finally escaping into open space. And there, he unleashed his most terrifying form, the golden-horned beast. Towering and ferocious, it stood in Purple Bell's path. Already weakened and paranoid, Purple Bell mistook the beast for reinforcements and, fearing there might be even more enemies coming, chose to retreat. Luo Feng had won. After the chaos, Luo Feng finally examined his greatest prize, the chained treasure chest. Inside were 3 world rings filled with unimaginable wealth. The first contained endless resources for realm lords and lower tribesmen, not individually precious, but enough in sheer quantity to sustain a civilization. The second held treasures tailored for immortals, of far higher value, meant to help the strong carve out survival in the harsh universe. And the third contained the tribe's ultimate creation, the Locking Sky Arm, a secret pattern weapon, forged as the highest achievement of their civilization. Black, starry, and shaped like an arm guard, it could unleash void secret patterns that froze space itself, locking all teleportation within ranges from 10,000 to 1,000,000 kilometers. Luo Feng tested it immediately, slotting in a Vulcan source crystal worth 200 million points. Instantly, the space around him froze, secret patterns flickering across the void. It was unstoppable. The only way to break free was to destroy the artifact itself. The weapon's power left Luo Feng trembling with excitement. With the Locking Sky Arm and his other treasures like the Wu Yu Wing, he could now truly stand tall among the strongest immortals. But the cost? Oh, the cost was brutal. Just 10 seconds of activation devoured energy worth over 2 million points, a fortune that would bankrupt most immortals in an instant. This was not a weapon to be used lightly. For 7 days, Luo Feng and Babata carefully counted their gains. The first world ring's resources totaled around 220 billion Hunyuan units. The second, filled with immortal treasures, was worth about 285 billion. The treasures taken from Cang Jin King added another 53 billion. And then there was the Locking Sky Arm, priceless beyond measurement. In total, a fortune of nearly 560 billion Hunyuan units. Luo Feng had truly overturned his destiny. But victory came with a price. Word began to spread. Through the Hongmeng City network, Luo Feng soon realized detailed information about the Sacrificial Tower, and even its coordinates were leaking everywhere. It didn't take him long to figure out who was behind it. Purple Bell King, still burning with rage and humiliation, was spreading the news to lure enemies onto Luo Feng's path. If others believed he carried such treasures, countless predators would come hunting. Luo Feng's low-profile identity as Yang was shattered. The preview closes on this ominous note. Luo Feng, armed with riches beyond imagination, but with enemies across the universe now watching his every move. The storm has only just begun.